Hey guys, this is Prak with iRepairMD, and today we have a Phantom Pro Plus, Phantom 4 Pro Plus that came into us, and as you can probably tell, this has suffered a pretty bad hard landing. You can see the skid is a little bit bent, but what's obvious is that the yaw arm here and the gimbal has broken off. And if you were to buy the gimbal for the Phantom 4 Pro, you're looking at spending about $650. So in this video, I will show you how to only spend a fraction of the cost and buy yourself or repair it yourself. So this is a DIY for a Phantom 4 Pro. Stay tuned. Alright, so for this repair, we are going to be using the multi-purpose screwdriver here. This is the thing that you can purchase from my site. The link is below, and we will also need a new Phantom 4 Pro yaw arm. The yaw arm on the Pro is a little different from the one for the 4. The 4 is a little shorter, so make sure you buy the Phantom 4 Pro yaw arm, okay? And then of course the next part is gonna be hard to find. This is the Phantom 4 Pro replacement ribbon cable, the gimbal ribbon cable, and you can get this one you can get it from my website. And this is actually pulled again off the assembly line of the Phantom 4 Pro and secretly shipped to me. So you can buy this from my site also. Let's go ahead and go with the repair. For this, you'll need a torque screw. Okay, so for this first half, what we need to do is actually take the screw off and pull the bottom half of the gimbal off. We'll need a T6 screw. Let's go ahead and use a T6 screw here. Switch off the bit. Put this in a place where we can find again. All the screws that go in here are all the same, so there's no need to keep it in any particular order. Just make sure you put everything back into place. Okay. If you're wondering about my thumb, this is from a treehouse building injury. I was using a jigsaw, and be very careful when you use a jigsaw. Lucky I didn't chop my thumb off. The blunt side pulled the thumb down, and it damaged it a little bit. All right, so we have two more on the side here. Let's go ahead and take that off. My videos are usually longer than a lot of other people's video because I don't leave any step out. So if you are able to take things apart with a screwdriver, or you're curious, you have to do the DIY type, you just follow this video step by step, you'll be able to figure this out and do it yourself. All right, so now what we need to do is now everything is done, just pull the clip off. So carefully free it. So now these are like snaps here. Just pull it off. Now you have this, okay? So what we want to do is go ahead, okay, let me give you a better look of what's inside from this angle here. Okay, so you have now, unlike the Phantom 4, you have a main flex cable here that connects to the gimbal, and this flex cable, all we really need to do in this case is we can disengage it from the flex cable side, from the body of the drone, or the gimbal side. And I choose to do the gimbal side because I have less to worry about. You want to keep the main flex cable attached to the drone, so we're going to go ahead and use a Phillips this time. Just a regular Phillips screwdriver. I will be using a Phillips number 5 Phillips, and I will go ahead and carefully take this off. Okay, there we go. Let's drop it down behind, and there we go. So now I'm going to go ahead, now that this is off, I'm going to go ahead and put the screw back into place here to hold my position, give you a better angle. So zoom in. Alright, so now the drone is now out of play. Now all we have to worry about, I have to work with, is the gimbal itself. Okay, we're going to rebuild the gimbal. Since this yaw arm has completely broken off, you can see the cable is also ripped. The brake is from here. Okay, so let's go ahead and we're gonna start off by just taking this yaw arm off right here. Basically, we're gonna go ahead and use the screwdriver and take the 2 Phillips inside here. There's 2 Phillips screws here. All right, undo that. Okay, put that in a safe place. Okay, now you're exposing the flex cable and all its brackets. All right, so now we're gonna go ahead and open from the other side. We have these Kapton tape that's shielding the gimbal. Let's go ahead and remove the Kapton tape. We're gonna reapply it again. And this is electronic shielding. So let's go ahead and peel it off carefully. We'll do it so we can reuse it. Not quite sure why there's so many Kapton shielding here, but I assume this is for image quality from the gimbal. The flex cable not only transmit power, it also transmit video signal. So the gimbal can transmit to the drone and the drone transmit to the receiver. Okay, now we have Phillips screws right here. All right, we're gonna take, but let's go ahead and actually, we're gonna disengage the flex cable from the bottom, the base right here. So there's 4 screws here we have to take care of. 4 Phillips, 1, 2, 3, 4, okay? So we can go ahead and do that. Take these 4 off. 1, 2, 3. This one has a little silicone in its way, but it's all right. And this is the 4th one here. Okay, now you're lifting them, one of the video plates off. Okay, now this is the button, clear buttons, and now you're exposed to the beginning of the flex cable. So let's go ahead and, using your finger or pry tool, just flick this forward, flick the black tab forward, and now let's go ahead and see these brackets here. Let's go ahead and take the brackets off also, so we can pull out the flex cable. All right. And these are all Phillips from here on. There we go. Put them in place. Now let's go ahead and pull the ribbon cable off. Okay, now that's out of play. What we want to do now, since we need to replace this whole yaw arm, is we have to disengage the yaw arm. So now there's 4 screws right here, 4 Phillips again. Just go ahead with the Phillips. Take it off. All right. All off here. One more screw left. Always tighten it's always one screw that's extra tight. You add some elbow grease too. That's to prevent tampering or DIYers, but believe me, if you you would have shipped this to DJI, you might not get it back within months. So if you see this as being a little more intimidating, you can definitely click on my website below and just send it to me. We'll take care of it. Our turnaround for the Phantom 4 Pro is about 3 weeks, since we do have a lot of drones coming in. All right, so now that comes off, let's go ahead and we're gonna put this aside for now, okay? And we're gonna only concentrate exclusively on rebuilding this yaw arm right here, okay? So now let's go ahead and pull all the excess tape off the ribbon cable. Okay, and then we're gonna go ahead and replace this flex cable too. And so there's a Phillip right here. This yaw arm is coming off. There's another screw here, so there's 3 Phillips screws. Okay. Now you have those 3 Phillips screws out of the way. You have 2 more on top here. That's holding the I guess you can say the outer bracket or the outer casing. There's a strip that holds the flex cable, the flex cable casing. Okay. Just going to keep that in a nice place. Okay, so this, as far as the motor to the yaw, it's fine. It looks like it's not ripped. It's just pulled off its socket. That's all it was. Now let's go ahead and replace this piece here. In order to do that, we have to take another Phillips screws here. Okay, another Phillip here, and that is the bracket that prevents the overswinging of the yaw arm. Okay, move that. Now you have the yaw arm free. Okay, it's very crucial that you have the positioning right. So you have these 3 holes here. Now let's go put the new yaw arm in. See where the ribbon cable runs. Make sure it is this way, so the ribbon cable can actually run into the length of it. And now let's go ahead and put the Phillips back in. All right, tighten it pretty well. That screws in. The other screw in here. Okay, now let's flip over. Now we're going to go ahead and put the bracket back on. Okay, and that's held together by 2 Phillips. Two Phillips screws here. There we go. All right, so now we have the flex cable from the yaw motor, and this is the ribbon cable shielding or protector or casing. Let's go ahead and put that on. Okay, now that is done. What we need to do now is start installing the flex cable, and we're gonna work this time. We're gonna work from the camera downward to the gimbal. Okay, so now let's go ahead and put this aside. We'll come back to it once we need it. And for this one, we are going to need a T6 screw. All right, that's the T6. Let's go open the camera casing itself. Camera casing here. And this uses the star bit. All right. This is a higher resolution chip that's in here. It's like, I think it's like a lot bigger. And you have this gel right here in the way. This is a heatsink gel. Okay, so what you want to do is to carefully, we're gonna lift this up. Okay, so we're gonna carefully unplug this connector here. Okay, look at this. This gel is, it's like thick syrupy honey. Let's go ahead and lift this up. Okay, we're going to lift this connector up right here, and that's going to be out of play. And now we're going to go ahead, and there's a little piece of rubber gasket. I'll show you where to put that once we do that. And then you have these different flex cable, and this is the main flex cable we're replacing. Okay, so what we have is this right here. Let's go ahead and pull the tape up. That is the flex cable we're replacing. So what we need is now access to the flex cable. We have the side here. Let's go ahead and unscrew it with 2 Phillips right here. I'm switching back to my number 5 Phillips. Okay. And let's go ahead and open the case up. Okay, and now let's pull the case, and then you have this shielding right here. We want to remove that, so let's go ahead and open that, and this 2 Phillips screws right here will take care of the shielding too. Okay, and now we have to tap it so the screw comes off. There we go, we got one more left, and come on, and the other right here. And now the shielding is off. Okay, and the other screw is also out here. Okay. What we need to do now is uncoil. We'll lift the connector carefully. Just pry it out. Okay. There we go. Now we're going to uncoil it. Okay? We're going to uncoil it from here. And remember how we coil it back on. Alright, so now pull this off. Uncoil this connector here. And we wrap around, okay? So now let's go ahead and undo all this flex cable here. We're going to rip this up. Okay, and now with the T6 we're going to go ahead and take these screws out again too, switching over from Phillips to T6. And now we can go ahead and take these 4 screws off. This is the main ECS, the speed controller for the gimbal. So all the gimbal motor is being controlled by this unit right here. This is the main crucial part. So when your gimbal is acting up, going left and right, it could be a bad ECS or connection could be bad. So be very careful with this unit right here. This is the main control for the ECS. All right, so let's go ahead and detach that. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to close this back up to protect my ECS from being damaged in the process. I'm only going to put one screw, however, because I need to re-access this once I get to the point where I need to replace the gimbal cable. All right, now let's go ahead and take the flex cable out of our new part. Now, gimbal flex for the Phantom 4 Pro. Okay, so now you see you have all these adhesive in the back. Let's go ahead and access that, and let's go ahead and put this around the camera. Let's put this clip back on. Make sure you seat it properly, and you should feel a little connector seating in. There you go. I felt a little snap. So let's go ahead, and what I want to do is go ahead and put these protector back in. Put this protector here, right back on, and now let's close this back up here and put the other connector back in here. There you go. All of it is snap in. Now what we're gonna do is we're gonna loop the gimbal like the way we saw it. So what we're gonna do is this little white circle here. We're gonna bend it. Okay, we're gonna stick the adhesive on the edge, like the way we have it. Okay, and now adhesive is stuck on the edge. So we're gonna loop it around. Loop it once, and then loop it again. Loop it once here. Be very careful not to rip anything while you in the process of looping this cable. Okay, one loop. Now second loop. Second loop in here. Okay. And carefully loop it. There we go, and that is the second loop that we want. Now we're going to go ahead and replace, put the shielding back on. Okay, so shielding is applying this way. Okay, and now let's go ahead and switch back to Phillips screwdriver to T6. And now let's drop the shielding back into here. Just lock the shielding back. Okay. And tighten it up. Put the shielding here. So now you got that protected. So now let's go ahead and put the casing back onto the camera. Alright, so now the camera casing is on. Switch back to T6. And put this 4 screws back on. Okay. Got 2 more left. Okay. All right, now that is done. So this this gasket right here that came off. We can go ahead and replace it back into this slot right here. Okay, and that's a expansion slot gasket. Let's rotate it to a fit. There we go. Slot back in. Now we're going to go ahead and run this cable. Okay, so the way this cable works is we're going to run it. This is going to run around here like that, and then we're going to loop it in here. Okay, so now let's expose the adhesive from the back of this. Expose the adhesive. Now adhere the adhesive to the side wall, okay, of the roll arm right here. There we go. Okay, so this is where the new yaw arm comes in. What we need to do is go ahead and replace the new yaw arm. Using the T6, we have 2 axes here. Let's go ahead and take the T6 screws. So now T6 screws here. There's 2 on each side. Let's go ahead and loosen that up. Once we have that done, let's go ahead and lift this piece off. Okay. And so now what you need to do is go ahead and carefully just slide this off. Okay, now let's take this off. What we're going to do is disassemble the broken yaw arm by taking the placement screw off the back plate and the ECS. We are going to be disconnecting the ECS. This is the power control right here, the motor control cable. Let's go ahead and carefully pull that out. Now we have these 3 Phillips screws here. Switch over to the Phillips screw. Okay. And add some elbow grease into here. Okay. And 2 more screws. Okay, so now once you have this screw pulled off, let's go ahead and take this off. Okay. And let's go put the pitch motor back into the new case. This is the new yaw arm right here. Let's go ahead. And we're going to replace the screw also. Make sure this is facing in the right direction. Line everything up. And now let's go ahead and put the Phillips screwdriver. So now with the T6 Phillip, let's go ahead and put the screws back in. Alright, and do the same for these last 3 holes here. Alright, now I want to fast forward. Okay, so now that you put the yaw motor back in, and the pitch motor back in, what we need to do is go ahead and put the EC, the electronic speed controller for the gimbal back. So here, what we need to do on the back side is the motor. So we need to replace the motor cable. Okay, so the motor cable, this motor cable slides into about right here. Okay, so you can see, to give you a better idea. So this motor cable here slides in like this. Okay, so let's go ahead and put the motor cable for that pitch right there, and we're going to use a tweezer to make sure that the white line is completely covered, and then we're going to lock in. So that's the the pitch motor, and now we have the yaw motor on top right here. So the yaw motor will go right here onto this slot, and this is for the roll motor. Let's go ahead and put that in place carefully. Insert the yaw motor. Okay. And make sure everything is nice and seated, which it is. Get a better shot. Okay, now we're gonna go ahead and we're gonna put a cap on this for now again. Trying to keep this in a safe place. Do not want to damage we do not, I repeat, do not want to damage the electronic speed controller, because that is the crucial part of this whole operation. Very expensive to replace if we can even find a part for it. Alright, so now let's go ahead and put the bottom assembly in. And so you can see the way DGI is facing here. So we know that this is the cable that's supposed to be running in this way. Okay. So the yaw DGI is facing downward like that. And this is the yaw motor here. And let's go ahead and put the screws in. Okay, we're going to secure the pitch motor here back in using the T6. Put T6 back in, and then put in the T6 screw. One on each side. Okay. All right. And this tape right here, I want this to move freely. So let's go ahead and reposition this adhesive in a little bit closer to the edge, because you want, when the camera roll, you want it to not be in the way. Okay, so about right here is adequate. So now the camera can roll. Let's pull this back here a little bit more. Okay, so now I'm moving it to the edge as much as possible. Okay, there you go, total freedom. Now let's run the flex cable, expose the yaw arm adhesive to the flex cable. There we go. All right, so expose that into place like what we have here. And we want to make sure that these adhesive is right on slot like this. Okay, so now we're going to go ahead and access the speed controller again using a torque. Screws. Now let's go ahead and put the roll motor control into this slot here, into the ECS. Okay, and the white line matches like that, and now lock down. Now let's go ahead and secure this cap. Make sure this flap right here is underneath the case, and then we're going to go ahead and put all 4 screws on, all 4 torques. Screws on here. Okay. There we go. like that. Okay. Now let's go ahead and run the flex cable around the top of the yaw motor. Okay, so what we want is these adhesive expose. We are exposing this adhesive. 1, 2, 3, and you see how the fold is? These notches. Make sure the notches match. Okay, you have one notch here, and then when you bend down, there should be another notch on this side right here. Okay, you should see it. Try to maneuver the camera so you can see it. All right, there we go. So now that's all done. All right, we're gonna keep this on, but we're gonna run this cable through, and now we're good. Now we're gonna go ahead and assemble the cable. Let's go ahead and put the plate on here too, on the camera. And this is Phillips, 2 Phillips. Let's go ahead and put the Phillips back on. Right here. Okay, 2 Phillips back on. Now let's go ahead and put the camera, make sure everything is nice and moving freely, nothing's obstructing. Okay. All right. Everything is moving, is fluid. Okay, so let's go ahead and put the gimbal back. So we're gonna run this cable here. See the top right here? We're gonna run these 2 flex through here, through the bottom nozzle here. Okay. And now, see these 4 screw holes? We're gonna match it up with the top 4 screws hole here. Okay, like so. Let's go ahead and match it up. There we go. Now put the Phillips screws back in to place to secure everything. There we go. One. We're going to work diagonally. The other side right here, diagonal to that. One we just put on. Okay. Gotta make sure it's all lined up. It's always a little tricky. All right, hold on a second. We're gonna line up the hole one more time. All right, so the diagonal screws right here. And then we're going to put the 2 screws left into their place. All right, got 1 more screw left here. There we go. All right, so now what we're gonna do is go ahead and flex this cable down, and we're gonna run this cable into the main board of the gimbal. There are 2 sets here. Make sure they snip it in and you don't see the white line anymore. Now use your finger to press it down. Okay. Now that we have that, what we're going to do now is put these plates back on. This is the guarding plate. Okay. Let's go ahead and replace that with these tiny Phillips here. All right, one more. Okay. There we go. All right, so now let's go ahead and secure these. Make sure the connector is seated back in. All right, it's seated, and you can hear the snip. Now let's go ahead and put the interface button on here, or the remote linking button on, and put the Phillips back in. One more on the other side. Okay, and then we have two more here. And the last screw. Okay. All right, so now we have the whole gimbal here assembled. Let's go ahead and put the bottom plate, this plate back on. Okay. There we go. Drop it into place. Then we're gonna put two Phillips in these holes. Drop the Phillips in, and then the other Phillips drop in, and now let's go ahead and screw it back into place. There we go. And the other side. Okay, now it's all secure and done. This gimbal is ready to be installed onto the drone. So basically, well, what we have to do is, of course, we have to put the tape back on. Just go ahead, put the shielding tape back on. Shielding tape is back on, and then the other Kapton tape right here. And now let's bring the main drone back in. Okay, and install. So let's go ahead. So we have this right here is where the main piece is. Let's go ahead with the Phillip. I'm gonna use this Phillip for now. We're gonna go ahead and put this cable back onto here. So let's unscrew this. I'll swing this over this side. And now, so this cable here. Okay, we're gonna secure it. Snap this cable back into place. What I have here. All right, now I'm gonna go ahead and put the bracket to hold it in back on, using my Phillip. Using the magnetic tip of my Phillip, I want to go ahead and position the screw to be back here. Okay, and let's go ahead and apply the screw on, and then the other piece right there. Also apply on. Okay, now let's go ahead and secure it. Okay, now we have that already secured, tape on, screwed on. Let's go ahead and put all the screws back into place here. All right, what we're gonna do first is we're just gonna put a few screws because we need to test this to make sure that this gimbal indeed works, and then we can go ahead and put the rest on. So I'm gonna put one right now just to secure my gimbal so it doesn't fall off during the test process. Okay. Okay, so now let's go ahead and power up the controller. Let's place a battery inside the Phantom, and let's see what we did before we secure all these other screw in. It would be advisable that we go ahead and test this drone out. Checking the gimbal. Got all the checks. All right. And so now we have this gimbal working. Let's go ahead and control pitch motor. There we go. Looking down, looking up, looking down, looking up. And barrel feet's working. So what we need to do now is go ahead and put all the screws back in and then test fly it. All right, so now let's go ahead, put all the screws back on using the T6. It should be quite a few screws to put back on. So this is a video on the Phantom 4 Pro, and with the built-in remote, it's called the Pro Plus. If you have a hard time following this video, or you are afraid to if you are afraid to do this repair yourself, just send it over to us. Just go to iRepairMD.com and send us a message, then download the check sheet of what you should bring to us. And the turnaround on this Phantom 4 repair is about 2 to 3 weeks. We have the part in stock. It's just a matter of just the time, because we have a lot of Phantom coming into our shop. And if you're new to this channel, my channel is focused on mobile repair, whether it's smart devices like tablets and smartphones or drones. Even goes into hoverboard and Segway minis. Anything that has to do with technology, we cover it. So if you haven't subscribed yet, please subscribe and hit like. And what I'm going to start doing is, once I hit 17,000 subscribers, I'm going to start giving away a prize every month to my subscribers. So subscribe and comment and share this video. And if you're interested in buying any specialized accessory, I have quite a few patents already in the works on some landing skid, working on some landing, water landing and drop device. But anyways, let's go ahead and power this one more time. Make sure everything is 10-4, or everything is working. There we go. Let's zoom in on that. Okay, final checkpoint. And then what we're gonna need to do now, after this repair, is we're gonna turn off this. All right, so we're gonna need to resecure the landing skid here to make sure that it's not gonna pop out, and then we're gonna test fly this. Okay, so let's go ahead and go and test fly. Oh, and by the way, you see this skid right here? This skid, however, is bent. As you can see, that would be an issue. It's too weak, but it didn't break off. What happened was the plastic itself has kind of bow, and what we're gonna do is add some heat onto this landing skid so we can correct it. So let's go ahead using a heat gun. I'm applying heat around the skid here, and this will loosen the molecule or the atoms. And then what we're going to do, as soon as it's flexible enough, we're going to go ahead and we're going to correct it, and allowing all the atoms of the plastic molecule to restructure. Here we go on this side. And go ahead and hold it for about 10-20 seconds. Feeling it cool down, and then we're going to go ahead and work on the back once it's cool enough. Alright, so now that's cool enough. Let's go ahead and go to the back side right here and do the same. Apply some good heat. So we can correct this. Alright, now I'm going to go ahead and hold this in place for about a few more seconds. Feel the molecule of the plastic rearranging, and now it's settling. Alright, so now you can see sliding skid now is not flimsy anymore. It's corrected, and we're going to go ahead and put the cap back on to the landing skid. The owner, however, is missing one over here in the front, so he's going to have to find another way to replace it. Meanwhile, I'm going to go ahead and put a little super glue right here to hold it in so it doesn't fall off during flight, and that is a entryway to access the Wi-Fi cable, the light bridge antenna, and also the compass. So we're just going to go ahead and secure it to make sure it doesn't fall off during flight. I'm putting a little dab of super glue right here all around. Okay. And so now, on top of that, in order to secure this, to prevent this gimbal from having a separation issue, we're going to replace it with a gimbal guard. Okay, so now we're going to put in my aftermarket professional gimbal guard. See, with this yaw arm, you have a tendency to, when you do a hot landing, to eject, and also this cable can easily be ripped, be nicked. So my gimbal guard protects the cable, and also has the stopper right here to shield the gimbal. Okay, the gimbal, the yaw arm, from breaking. It has this extra layer of cushion. So let's go ahead and install it. In order to install it, all we have to do is just take the 2 hex T6 off the bottom. Okay. T6 off the bottom right here. And then we're going to slide the gimbal guard over and make sure to protect the flex cable. I'm going to slide over the flex cable here. Okay, now you have an extra layer of protection. This is extremely lightweight and durable. It's 3D printed using the SLA stereolithography method. So it's not the cheap 3D printing that uses a filament. And this will be a extra layer of protection for your drone. It does not interfere with the flight system at all. Okay. There we go. There we go. There we go. So now you have the gimbal guard on the drone. And this gimbal guard power the drone on. I'll show you. Lets your drone swing freely. Right. Protected from camera from ejecting. Okay. It's lightweight and it has an extra shielded protection in case of a hard landing. What you have is the ability. You have an extra cushion to protect, and plus you don't have to take it off. All you have to do to transport it is to place this back into the slot. It does not interfere with anything. It's designed to fit into the casing. All right. But anyways, we're gonna go ahead and go outside and test the flight of this drone, and then we'll send it back to the customer. Okay, so now that we're outside, let's go ahead and test this for flight. Alright, what we're gonna do is go ahead and set the battery, put the props on. I'm gonna go ahead and power up the controller also. Power up the controller. Props on. Okay. And let's go ahead and power up the drone. Verify we have anything in the video. Yep. Video card in there. All right. Let's go ahead and fly the drone. Getting a video feed. Okay, we're waiting on satellites. Calibrate the controller. All right. We're gonna wait on the satellite.
The whole point has been updated. Please check it on the map.
Okay, let's go ahead and get the flight going.
Take off.
All right. So let's get a tour of the neighborhood again. This time let's head towards the swim club. All right. Okay, so that is my neighbor's house down there. Further out, we should see the swim club. All right. This is the wooded area. Accelerate a little higher. And that is the racket, the tennis court of the swim club. Some people are playing tennis, and they don't want to startle them. Okay. So now, let's go ahead and just take this a little higher altitude.
test this thing out. Okay, so now we are at about the limited height of 400 feet.
Altitude reached.
And now let's go look at the neighborhood. Checking the camera. Let's go ahead and check up all the angles. There we go. Let's see if it levels out. That's the horizon there. Alright, so
Maximum flight altitude reached.
alright, now let's go ahead and let's initiate come back home. Let's make sure it comes back. Alright, now it's going to make a beeline towards home. It's coming straight this way. It's now above my house. You can actually hear the buzzing now. And you look down there, that's our flight deck right there. Let's bring it into the flight deck.
Landing.
Alright, so now it's coming in while landing. Alright. Let's see if I can do some FPV flying. Alright, here we go. So here we go. So this is a successful repair and a successful test flight. This is Prac with iRepairMD. Safe flying and safe repair.